All right. Welcome in. It is great to have you all here with us this morning. This today is our first webinar. We would personally like to thank all of you for joining us. Here at MarketTime, we are always looking forward, and we're excited to share our vision with you. So today we would like to continue on with that and introduce you more to our CEO and COO. We'd love to have you more into with MarketTime, more of a, how would I say, more of a family feeling with MarketTime. We want to keep you with us, and we want to share our journey with you. I am Jasmine Harris. I'm an employee here, and I am joined today by Chris Happ, our CEO, and Jacob Teplin, our COO. Chris joined MarketTime in April. He has a successful track record of building innovative technology companies from the ground up. He is a proven entrepreneur, having built 2 highly successful startups. Along the way, Chris cultivated deep experience developing SaaS, software as a service platform, and building large-scale B2B networks that will be invaluable to his role guiding MarketTime. Here we have Jacob, who joined us in June. He has a track record of working with leading global companies to help solve their pressing business challenges. In his role as the VP of Corporate Development for Pro Holdings, he drove complex enterprise information management initiatives focused on unlocking value and insights from data. Prior to Pro Holdings, Jacob spent 10 years with Bain & Company, where he led operational improvement and revenue enhancement projects for Fortune 500 companies. Thank both of you for being here today.
Yeah, thanks, Jasmine. And just want to say we're thrilled to have you here. Jasmine joined us in June as one of our first new hires to the team and has just been killing it. So thank you for making our marketing efforts what they are.
Thank you. So here's our agenda for today. It's packed with some great topics, so let's go ahead and dive in. If you have any questions, feel free to submit them in the chat function, and we will answer as many as we can during the Q&A section. Everyone is talking about omnichannel commerce, but what does omnichannel mean, and why should wholesalers care about it?
Yeah, this, Jake, we've debated this many times, and this term omnichannel by definition means all channels. So I could sell, if I'm a wholesaler or a retailer, I could sell both physically, I could sell online, I could sell through somebody's phone. Feasibly, someone's on a subway and is going to scan a QR code on an ad and be able to transact or interact with me as a seller. The challenge is the word is just so overused and I think misunderstood. What I think is really important about omnichannel and what we're trying to bring to the market is this notion of trust and building relationships and creating patterns of commerce with people that you trust. You're building your business by buying from people that you want to know are going to be there if something happens. And how do you do that? A lot of times it's hard to do that purely online, and it just takes time. And so for me personally, and for us at MarketTime, we think about omnichannel as blending the best of both worlds. We're lucky in that we have a partner with several large marketplaces, both Dallas Market Center and the Brussels International Trade Mart, where many, many years of trust have been built in buying and selling relationships. And what we've heard from their customers and their sales agencies and their retailers and their manufacturers is that I want to be able to come and meet in person and build these experiences. I want to expand my mind just by meeting other people and being in different places. But I also want the convenience of being able to shop when I want, and some of the power that the digital world can bring, some of the machine learning or artificial intelligence that platforms such as MarketTime can bring. So for us, omnichannel really means an extension of a trusted network that's built over time, both in person and behind a computer screen, and being able to seamlessly move between that experience where I get the efficiency of the internet and I get the trust of a handshake and the mind or the experiences of coming to a market and getting to touch and taste and smell. And that's really the way we think about it. You'll hear the word, like I said, misused in the sense that it's easy to say, well, we just sell everywhere. I don't think that's the right way to think about it. I think it's a way at least we think about it, is that it's about extending the network of trust in multiple layers. Like I said, Jake and I debated many nights. There's a place we go to have these debates called the Green Dragon, where I think we've solved the future of it. What do you have this one?
Yeah, I mean, I would build on everything Chris said. And one thing I read that resonated was omnichannel is all about reducing effort. So if you think about the friction points that exist for a wholesale supplier or a sales agency to reach a buyer, and you think about the friction points that a buyer might experience in trying to acquire products for their store, omnichannel is about how do you reduce that friction, reduce that effort required to successfully complete a transaction. For MarketTime, from a seller perspective, what that means is we want to enable our suppliers and sales agency customers to enter their data once and then use it to sell anywhere, anytime, anyhow that their customers want to buy. And then in turn, receive orders back all through one integrated platform. So suppliers and sales agencies don't need to go to 5 different places to see what they've sold. And then on the flip side of that, for a buyer, what it means is you have one single login and one single profile through which you can buy through a B2B site, you can buy through a marketplace concept, and of course, you can come to a physical trade mart or have one of your sales reps come visit you at your store. And in all of those touch points, we know who you are, or your sales rep has your data so that they can best offer you a personalized experience. So it's about reducing effort, it's about consistency across touch points, and ultimately it's about helping everyone be more effective, more efficient, and turn every opportunity into a sales and partnership opportunity.
Well, thank you. I think those are great definitions and a great way to explain omnichannel for everyone here. Can you share some best practices you have seen in how wholesalers are using technology to more effectively sell in person at a trade show or on the road?
Yeah, I'll take a first pass at that. I think some of our customers, and really most of our customers, are making amazing use of the MarketTime platform, which we see as a core part of how to sell successfully in person. And so they're making sure that the product data and images they have are robust and accurate, and the pricing data is accurate. And some of them are even taking this step to connect MarketTime to their ERP systems so that as their sales reps are out in the field, they have live access to inventory, which is particularly important right now. We all know about the logistics challenges. And so they have really all of their products and all of their customer history in their palm of their hand, whether that's an iPhone, an Android, or another tablet. And once you have that, it makes your interactions with your customers much easier. You don't have to write things in pen and paper. You don't have to go in search of some handwritten report of what's your experience with this customer. You have all that data, which in turn gives you more time to focus on selling and building trust, right? The last thing you want to be doing in a trade show when it's frantic and you're trying to hit as many of your customers as possible or out in the field is not have the right data or the right images to close the deal. With MarketTime and with our app, online, offline, even if you have a bad Wi-Fi signal, you have the data you need, you have the product images you need, very easy to write an order and have it flow through your systems. So ultimately you can spend more time building a relationship, closing the deal, and doing all the things that actually a great salesperson can do and add value to a customer. So I think it comes down to having the right technology platform, and then of course the amazing things our customers do out in the field every day to sell and build trust with their retail customers.
Thank you.
Yeah, nothing I could add.
I don't know about that, but.
So you have numerous customers using MarketTime to power their B2B wholesale e-commerce websites. What are the most successful sales agencies and brands doing to drive their e-commerce sales?
Yeah, this is where we are investing the most as a company. The way we at MarketTime think about our role in the ecosystem is to be the engine that supports the trusted networks that are built. And that could be as you suggested, it's been a B2B commerce site. It could be a buying organization or industry group that is formed that consists of buyers and sellers. It could be a marketplace sponsor like a Dallas Market Center. Where we're putting our time and energy and effort is creating templates that do two things. One, make them very efficient. So building off what Jacob just said about making you as a salesperson or making you as a buyer or supplier more efficient in your just sort of back of house operations. What inventory is available as I'm merchandising a store? What do I have? What do I need? Those kind of efficiency steps. And then two, building templates that allow for success in terms of building a successful retail business or building a successful wholesale business. And then in the middle, what we found is really the role of the sales agency or the sales representative to provide the glue between those two and provide the expertise that many of the retailers and brands really rely on to make this an efficient ecosystem. So in terms of best practices, there's a lot I can share that we're doing, and it's very much built around how do we connect the buyer and supplier where they're at. You'll hear us say this a lot, but meeting your customer where they're at. And by saying that, I mean, how do you help someone reorder when they need to? How do you help them understand what might sell well in their retail environment? What information do we have that can help either the buyer, the supplier, or the sales agency be more successful ultimately in creating efficient commerce? And we really measure our success, and you'll see us put a lot more emphasis on the gross market value that we're able to support through the MarketTime engine. And that is all growing as transactions are happening in our platform. You'll see other, I think, hurdles to commerce we're trying to really break down. We're launching soon a product called MarketTime Pay, which will support the credit card processing and the ability to offer terms and conditions or credit terms to buyers. That we've seen that as a barrier to commerce, where that's just an inefficient process where there's many different ways to process credit cards. There's different shipping rules and shipping pricing and different credit terms. So we're building that into our platform to break down that wall. So we want the transaction to be about helping both sides be successful in growing their business, and then all the pieces in the middle that sort of create friction, we're using technology to break those down. So that's the way we think about the future and some of the ways we're thinking about investing in our product and the features that we're bringing to market. Probably stop short of specific best practices. And I think there's a lot to talk about, and a lot may depend on industry or different groups. A lot of that we rely also on our marketplace sponsors or the sort of curators of the marketplace to understand and bring that as a value offering. We think our role is to help them make that easier. You know, for example, we've created a feature we call Showcase, where you could actually send to a retailer or sales agency or a brand could send basically a full shopping cart of recommendations where you could say, yep, all that makes sense, and I'm going to click here and purchase those because I know that would be great for my store. So I give that as an example. We didn't create what's in the cart. We created the ability to do that because that makes it easier for people. So we're really focused on doing those kinds of things as a company where we take the feedback from the people in the ecosystem, our stakeholders, and then provide those tools. Jacob, I know you guys we have a release in 2 weeks where a lot of this stuff's coming. You can probably talk about some of the best practices.
I think maybe on a tactical level, what we've seen is that those sales agencies or brands that invest time and put thought into how to get word out to their customers about their B2B site are driving step function sales levels versus those that have not yet been able to do that. This year, just year to date, tens of millions of dollars have been bought through B2B sites powered by MarketTime. So we really see that there's a big opportunity here, as Chris said, to complement the physical, but support things like reorders or shopping in advance of a physical show. We think that complement is key. And some of these things are not overly complicated. So things like putting your B2B website link at the bottom of your email signature. So every time you send a link to a customer, they see it. Sending out marketing blasts to your customer that highlight the website and some best practices or guidance on how your buyers can utilize your website. Having great content on your website. Now, you own the website, so you can change the look and feel, you can change the callouts, you can change the theme, and of course having healthy item data, including pictures, really helps that experience for the buyer. So I think most of this is not rocket science. Most of it is making use of the tools that the MarketTime platform provides, and then finding ways where it makes sense, and if it makes sense for your business, to present that to your buyers as another way that they can interact with you 24/7. Because of course, the last thing you want is one of your buyers thinking about a product they need and then thinking, well, I either don't have the time or I don't want to call, and then they go somewhere else, right? So it's those types of use cases where the B2B site is particularly valuable. What I'll add to Chris on our side, we recognize that setting up a B2B site can be daunting, and it can feel like I can't do that. And so what our platform is all built upon is templates, so that it's very simple to configure in a way that still feels personalized to your brand. And then we've also invested in resources to help you on that journey. So Jasmine, to call her out, is well equipped to help any and all of you build out your B2B site. She's an absolute expert at it, and she will make it look awesome. And we've also hired 6 full-time people that are dedicated to helping you maintain healthy item data. So we will help you with the uploads of your items. We will help you with the upload of your images so that by the time you go live with that site, it looks fantastic. So we're trying to address all the challenges that might exist to successfully having an omni-channel platform for all of you, right? So that you can sell in person and also sell online. I think we've taken some really good steps in that direction, and we always welcome feedback.
I'm going to add, one of the things that we've tried to do, so as I started in June, one of the things we noticed and the feedback we were starting to get was customers of ours who had been using our in-person order writing tools and then stood up a B2B site. We're seeing shifts in the buying, not in dollars necessarily, although certainly an increase, but the shift in consumer or their buyer behavior, that 20-30% of their sales that were happening through the order writing tool or more in person field visit were now happening in their B2B sites. So we said, okay, what does that tell us about the end user who's using this? Was there a huge shift in what those companies who had a B2B site set up were doing? Had they fully marketed and said buy there? I think it's more of that's what the buyer wants. They want to go see it, and they'll come to a market or a show, but they want to be able to, in their schedule, they're all very busy retailers or businesses, and so they need to be able to buy when they want to, or maybe inspiration strikes and they're going to go buy things. So what we've now done is said, we're going to reduce the friction. We want every one of our customers, brands or sales agencies to have a B2B site. We've said 0 setup fees, 0 cost until you come on and are successfully transacting. we thought it was the right thing to do. There's no reason everybody in this day and age shouldn't have that touch point with your customer, lest you'll lose potential business to someone else as a consumer or a buyer goes on to purchase and they want to do it now. If you don't have a way for them to do that, they're going to buy it somewhere else. And so that's where you start to see the increase in business, is that people start looking to your B2B site for more product or replacement product, where they used to have to go 3 or 4 places. Now they're trying to go to fewer spots. So I give that as a notion of what we're trying to do and invest in the community, is that we see an opportunity for all of our customers to step in and kind of understand this. And we understand there's people with very technical capabilities. And so that's where we've set up teams to be able to support that. And then also trying to reduce the upfront costs through investment to make this happen.
Well, thank you. Okay, next. Every time I look in the news, there is another B2B wholesale e-commerce marketplace trying to convince sellers and buyers to join their platform. I'm sure customers ask all the time about pros and cons of joining these wholesale e-commerce marketplaces. How do you think about these new platforms?
Yeah, well, this is definitely a hot topic. And I think it's something every single supplier and every single sales agency needs to be thinking hard about. And since those are our customers, we are thinking very hard about it. I think there are a few facts. The facts are that these marketplaces, we don't necessarily need to name them, have gotten tremendous funding from Silicon Valley, and they have proven out that there's demand for that. So I think we've seen, what it's proven is that retail buyers do value convenience, they do value choice, and they do value a great online experience that feels more like a B2C environment. If those things were not true, these marketplaces would not be growing so fast, and they would not be attracting billions of dollars of capital. To say what you will about Silicon Valley, they're not stupid. I don't think they care about our industry, but they're not stupid. So I think those are the facts. Now, as we think about how do we support our customers, particularly our sales agencies in that ecosystem, the way we think about it is we want to play from our strengths. And what do those online marketplaces not have? Well, they don't have trust. It's just a sea of product. And they don't have a trusted salesperson that can help drive higher order volumes by knowing the brand and knowing the retail buyer. They also don't have any physical component. So they don't offer the ability to touch and feel. They don't offer the ability to have buyers networking with each other. Frankly, they don't offer the ability for the buyers to get off their computer, come meet some friends, and have a drink. No one wants to be on Zoom all day. I think that thesis has been proven out by here at the DMC and other physical marketplaces. They've had record shows in June, July, August. If all buyers wanted was to sit at home and buy product online, they could do that. There are now 10, 15, many copycat online digital marketplaces that have some great technology. So if all people wanted to do was have a nameless, faceless online experience, they could do that today. And the sales volumes we're seeing from our customers, highest ever for many of them. The attendance we're seeing at physical marketplaces, the highest ever. That tells us that what people want is omnichannel, right? It's that hybrid experience. It's the best of physical, touch it, feel it, discover, inspiration, trust, get a drink, get out of your store for a day and make sure you're staying abreast of the latest news. But yes, then they want to be online when it makes sense and have a great buying experience. So what we are trying to deliver is that idea of, for a seller, load up your data once, sell anytime, anywhere, anyway. So you load up, your rep writes it physically on the app, at a trade show, or out in the field. You load it up, it instantly goes to your B2B site. Your customers that already know you and trust you come to your B2B site and order. It's easy, it's simple, it feels great. And then load it up and be in marketplaces. But don't be in a marketplace where there's no trust and it's just a Silicon Valley backed play where likely it leads to an IPO, and that marketplace owns your data, owns your customers, can push you lower in the search results whenever they want to. Instead, come into a marketplace with a trusted partner. Could be a digital partner, like a trade association or a buying group. Could be a physical sponsor, like Dallas Market Center or Brussels. So come into an environment where you already know the sellers, or many of the sellers, or the sellers already know many of the buyers, and you trust that sponsor, and leverage that marketplace as a way to find new customers. I think the worst outcome for our industry is a monopoly, digital-only marketplace. So if B2B wholesale in our industry goes the way of Amazon, some suppliers will win out, many suppliers will get lost in a sea of product, and almost all sales agencies will suffer. So as we've talked to our customers, I haven't heard a single customer or a single buyer say, yes, I want a world where there's a monopoly, single point where all B2B commerce occurs. No one says that, because in that model, most buyers and sellers don't win, only the monopoly wins. So that is not a good outcome from our seat, obviously, not a good outcome from our sales agency seat, and I believe not a good outcome for most suppliers. So what does all that mean? To us, it means we need to deliver solutions on the digital side that are as good as the Silicon Valley-backed, multi-billion-dollar valued companies, while delivering an amazing in-person experience, and tie all that together in a trusted network where it's not about us, not about MarketTime, not about MarketTime. It's about our customers. It's about how our customers build on the trust and the networks they've built to continue to grow. And not to overstate it, but when I try to talk to my team about what are we trying to do, if I make it, let's make it bread and butter. I'm trying to allow one of our customers, a sales rep in North Dakota, I'm trying to allow that person to make a living by giving them that great tools so that they can make enough money to feed their family instead of buying half of a Porsche for someone in Silicon Valley. Because I think at the end of the day, that's actually what it boils down to. If we can't deliver tools and technology that helps this industry deliver what buyers want, buyers will go to Silicon Valley-backed monopolistic marketplaces because they make it so compelling. And at that point, again, the salaries of the sales agent or sales rep will go to buy some very wealthy investor's Porsche. And certainly that's not the outcome we see as optimal. So as I try to boil it down, not make it theoretical, it's all about empowering our customers with the tools they need, with the benefits that we've all seen can come from marketplaces and product discovery.
Yeah, look, is this world changing? Yes. I mean, it was anyway, and then you layer in a global pandemic. And so what did we learn from that experience? Well, we learned that we need, and we now actually have the technical capability to live a digital existence. But on the flip side, what we've also learned is we don't want to live a digital existence. Look at online schooling. It's been a disaster by most reports, right? The teachers don't want it, the parents don't want it. So if the players in the ecosystem don't want that outcome, then it's not going to happen. It's not going to be widely adopted. We don't believe the players want that is entirely monopolistic or one-sided. We believe they want choice, independence, the role of the curator, that independent retailer to bring multiple different brands, discover new brands that are sort of unheard of and aren't necessarily the pay-to-play brands. So to really say what is energizing about this, that I know Jacob and myself, is we're helping, and we believe our role is to help small and mid-sized businesses, certainly large businesses as well, but help everyone be successful and have a voice and sort of a seat at this digital/physical table.
All right, thank you both for that. Now, what is in store for MarketTime over the next year? What are the solutions you're developing to provide new value for the thousands of buyers and sellers using the MarketTime platform?
Yeah, we've alluded to this throughout this discussion, but it's about creating a network and then adding services in that the network needs. So I'll give an example. A lot of retailers, typically speaking, certainly in the US, retailers have trouble getting access to the same level of healthcare benefits that may exist for someone who works at a company. Well, is that a service that we should be providing to our network? It's something that we're thinking about and exploring. Buying discounts for the products and services that people in the network need. So office supplies, printer kits, stuff like that. Are those things that people in the network need? Those are kind of the visionary things that are coming and thinking about. Then there's the more tactical we've talked about. The ability to process credit cards and offer terms, shipping capabilities. Those are very clear that the networks ask those rules, buyers and suppliers. And the way we look at it is nothing we add should be one-sided. It should benefit the entire ecosystem. So that's sort of the barometer that we look at it. Are we disintermediating anyone who's part of this? If not, that's probably a great value add service that we should plug in and that many people will take advantage of. And if so, then we should rethink are we intentionally shifting the power balance in our platform of trusted commerce? And so at the highest level, that's the way that we're running these things through our product roadmap and our sort of value-based roadmap. Jacob, you can talk about some really cool things that
we got some cool stuff. And some of this stuff, it's easier to see than to hear me talk about it.
Yeah.
But let me go over a few of these. So Chris mentioned MarketTime Pay. Super excited about that. We think it's going to cut down friction, allow more customers to get net terms, and turn what today is a highly manual and painful process of collecting credit apps for every single supplier, and turn that into one seamless process by which buyers get extended credit limits. So we think that can both make it a better experience for all and drive higher sales. So we're 100% focused on delivering an amazing experience for that. Shoppable catalogs. You asked many times. We heard. Shoppable catalogs will be fully live across all channels on October 1st, which means sales rep can use a catalog to write orders with a customer, and buyers will be able to shop through shoppable catalogs on your B2B websites. And those shoppable catalogs become shoppable with one click. So we use OCR, optical character recognition, to scan through the document in 30 seconds and then create automatic links of every SKU in that catalog so that they can be clicked on and shopped immediately. So we're really excited about that. We've heard from customers that a lot of buyers and sales reps love interacting with product in that way. And frankly, it allows more leverage to be had out of all the work that goes into creating those catalogs. So we're really excited about that. Showcase, we think that's super powerful. Instead of just sending an email to your customers and listing out products, you can now send them effectively a basket. All they have to do is click on the link. They're immediately brought to a site. They're already logged in. They click the items, enter how they want them to be sent, boom, done. So it can take what before would have taken maybe 5 to 10 minutes for someone to digest, decide if they want to make a purchase, call, log on to your B2B site. I think we can get that down to a minute now, from the moment they read that email to when they place the order. So we're really excited to see how our sellers put that to use. And then one that we really haven't talked about yet, but we're also super excited is reporting. We've heard from many of you that the reporting in MarketTime is robust, but it's not everything you need. And so the solution we have to that is a flexible reporting platform. So by the end of the year, we will have rolled out a fully flexible reporting platform where each seller will have access to their entire database, and using an industry standard reporting platform, you will be able to generate any report either in a tabular format like Excel or visualized effectively any data you would ever want to see. And so we think that's going to help our customers ask more questions and get more answers out of their data. So we're very, very excited about that reporting platform because data is power. And again, if I go back to the marketplaces, I can guarantee you that the marketplaces are mining that data and using it to try to drive sales to the connections that are most valuable to them. Or say it again, data is power, and if we are not enabling you to use data, you're at a disadvantage versus those that are using that data. So we want to get you the data so that you can use it to, again, build on your trusted relationships and be a great advisor to your brands and to your buyers. Frankly, the list goes on and on. I don't know who's on the call, but we're bringing in manufacturer categories. We heard requests that people didn't just want macro levels categories at the sales agency level, but also wanted specific categories that live only at the manufacturer level. That's coming. We're making improvements to our reporting within the platform, so the set reports. We're making UI improvements throughout. We're driving a better mobile experience for B2B sites and for apps.markettime.com. I could go on and on and on. So we are committed and investing ahead of the curve to deliver on everything we've talked about on this call, which is solutions that work, solutions that are intuitive, and solutions that give you all more time back so you can focus on growing your business.
One thing I'd add to that too is not a feature per se, but a mindset shift that we've fully embraced, which is a partnership model. But what we keep hearing is that there are a lot of tools out there that purportedly do the same thing that you guys do. Or my brand uses software A and I use MarketTime. Can you connect them? So we're heavily focused on partnerships that are accretive to the network. And so if that means that we're enabling I guess you could call a competitor, we're embracing that because it's better for our customers and helps break down the walls of commerce. So we're building connections to various other platforms. The other thing we're doing is speed to market. We're, instead of thinking we can build every solution in-house, we're bringing in Jacob mentioned industry reporting platform, BI platform, that on top of that rather than running around. So things like the shipping product we're talking about, third-party product we can plug in and we know it's going to scale and be successful.
Yeah, that's a great, because just like I think our message to our customers would be, we don't know how to be an amazing sales agency. We don't know the first thing about that. We do know how to deliver great technology that supports sales agencies, suppliers, and omnichannel commerce. By that same token, we recognize that we cannot be the expert on every single piece of technology. Even Apple, right, at $2 trillion valuation still brings in third-party solutions. So our approach is we want to focus our development time and effort on features that only we can deliver better than anyone else because we know our customers so well. For everything else, we want to bring in best-in-class solutions and integrate them really tightly into our platform so it feels seamless to our customers, but it doesn't take us a year to get there. So we think, for example, on MT Pay and our shipping offer and our reporting capabilities, these are things that might have taken us a year, 2 years to achieve if we started from scratch. But by leveraging great technology partners and then focusing our time on seamless integration into the platform, we're going to get there in a quarter or two. So we're talking about cutting down development cycles by 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x, which ultimately means faster, better solutions to our customers. So we are fully embracing that model, and we believe it's going to pay dividends to our customers and to the full MarketTime ecosystem.
All right, you guys have any last things before I open up for questions?
Yeah, did you guys win? I lost. Did you guys win fantasy football this week?
I did win.
You did Monday night.
I did win, and my team told the team told me that I made a very uninformed first pick. I'm from Boston originally,
Okay.
so I chose Tom Brady, even though he's on the Bucs now.
Yeah.
And I was then told by my team as well as all of my brothers that was a terrible, terrible, terrible pick. That you do not pick a quarterback in the first round of fantasy football. You pick a running back. But anyways, I did. I won out by about 3 points. So came down to Monday night.
Congrats, Jasmine. How about you?
No, I
All
didn't.
right, so we got 2 losers here.
I think ESPN, the projection still has me as last.
Oh, good.
I don't think that 1 week makes a season, but I at least got one.
The next one of these, we'll update everyone on our stats. Feel free to place wagers on the three of us as part of the chat.
Now is our Q&A session. We're going to open up for a couple questions. If you have any, please submit them to us in our chat box. All right. For our first question, I represent a purchasing group and we don't have a showroom. Should we do in-person markets and shows, or should we just have an online marketplace?
Both. Yeah, and I think that's the power of what we've been talking about with omnichannel and with what our platform can enable is, we think there's benefit to in-person, touch, feel, discover, networking, education, and there's benefit to online. Create a favorites list before, get inspiration before you come to the show. Maybe you're at a show and you're not ready to buy, save it, buy it later. So we have experience and success powering buying groups, trade associations that want to set up a digital-only marketplace for their members, but we also can support the full tie-in with physical, whether that's fully syncing the buyer in-person registration process to the system so that when a buyer enters in the physical space, all the seller has to do is scan their badge and boom, you don't have to take the time to enter the buyer's information. It's all just populated. So again, less time, less friction, focus on building the relationship, focus on the order. So, we're happy and we love to power digital-only marketplaces, but we also see a lot of value where it makes sense in that hybrid approach.
Yeah, and what do we have that some of the Silicon Valley competitors don't? Well, because of our partnerships with Dallas and Brussels, we have a great physical location that's by great hotels and airports that the barrier to entry on doing a physical show is there's some time, there's some cost. The time, I think we said, is easily worth it given the in-person interaction and collaboration and just sort of ability to see new things. So one of the things that we're trying to bring as well is, hey, we've got a space should you want to use it, or we have access to it. And how do we embed either travel discounts or travel rewards such that members of these groups can then leverage that. So as you're buying throughout the year, you're building up a point base and then can use that to offset the cost of travel. So again, how do we eliminate barriers to commerce? We do things like that. And so we love the fact that we have the physical places to convene if you choose to do so. Maybe you start as a small sort of digital only and you say, I want to do a trade show, or some of the people in my network want to send a couple iPads or show at one of these physical shows. So we want to kind of offer all those options so people can learn what's best for their business.
Thank you.
And I guess I'd add, we want to do that all at a cost that is reasonable. We really don't want initial setup fees to be a barrier to entry. So the way we're generally pricing these relationships is it's all about mutual benefit. So we effectively take on all the training, all the onboarding, all the data load, and then we only win if the marketplace is successful and if our partner is successful. So it's all about aligning incentives. We think that's the right thing to do for customers, and we think it opens up opportunities for more groups because there's literally $0 of upfront cost. We take on all the risk.
That's great, but I definitely see that as being helpful. I see that as being something people want. It helps eliminate more risk and it makes people feel safer. Yep. It puts more trust back into MarketTime. For our next question, what are MarketTime's plans to improve mobile use of their B2B website?
You've been
reading this. It's a great question, and it's a top priority. And we expect to launch a major improvement on October 1st. So I don't know who asked the question, but we recognize that mobile is critical. It is being B2C, and it's becoming even more critical now in B2B. And so on October 1st, all parties, buyers and sellers, should see major improvements in how the windows display, and it's going to make it much easier and much more streamlined for buyers to place orders. So we are excited to roll that out, and we won't stop on October 1st, but we've set a marker for October 1st to have major improvements.
Yeah, I think you'll find we stress for the team at MarketTime 2 words: authenticity, integrity. We're going to be the first to say when we delivered something that could have been better. The mobile experience, we'll be the first to admit, was not what it needed to be, and we're rectifying that. So I think you're going to find that we really solicit feedback. Jacob's launched a customer council where we solicit actively feedback from customers and want to hear the opportunities for improvement more than, hey, we love this, because that's how we get better. So we want that feedback. We want to know where we've delivered something. And a lot of times we don't realize that we delivered something that wasn't quite good enough. So we want to hear it, and then we want to fix it. And this is one of the areas that we've determined we need to get really good at.
All right. This one has just come in. We need, going back with our B2B, will our customers be able to see their order history when they log on to the B2B platform?
Yes. Yes. So a buyer in the current configuration can see their order history right on the B2B site. Buyers can also always log into apps.markettime.com for an even more full breadth of experience. And you know, it's a great question on the buyer. We actually think there's an opportunity to deliver analytics to the buyer as well. You know, if a buyer is only doing 5% of their buying through MarketTime or through agencies and suppliers that are on MarketTime, you could probably say, well, maybe the analytics don't have that much value. But if a buyer is buying 50% of their product through sales agencies enabled by MarketTime, which I think may be the case in particularly in areas like toy, where we have a lot of really good customers, then seeing those analytics is really powerful because they can get instant views of what they've been buying and how does the buying this season compare to last season. And before they go into a show, what did I buy last year? Then they can think about how did it sell through. So we're going to be investing, not only, we've been talking a lot about seller analytics, we're also investing in buyer analytics with the idea that that should help the buyer. And if it were delivering value through that, it should encourage buyers to actually place more of their sales, more of their purchases, through suppliers, sales agencies that are on MarketTime. Because then when that buyer looks at their analytics, they're going to have a fuller picture of what they're buying, which I think right now, if you ask most buyers, how do they know what they're buying? They probably have to go to 5 different systems, which is a very hard way to keep track of trends, to understand what they did last year, what they might want to do this year. So that was a long way to say, yes, it's already on the B2B sites. Yes, they can get it in apps.markettime.com. And yes, we see that as a priority that we're investing in.
Yeah, and then I would add to that, in the roadmap for release in beginning of January is a more specific, I'll say, buyer experience, where it's not just log into the B2B site, it's more of a tailored experience that's around the buyer. We've heard that, we've gotten that feedback, and we're starting to give them a tool that they feel very comfortable in and mimics the types of things they're used to. So it'll take the existing B2B site that's been created by our sales agency or brand and then puts it into a buyer experience where you get the kind of the best of both worlds, where they can do some of those analytics next to the shopping experience they're used to.
That'll be great.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one is a 2-part question. The first part, does MarketTime have any plans to allow online B2B shopping without a login or possibly shop as a guest? We think our biggest obstacle is getting customers to sign up and then, of course, remember login credentials.
Great question.
That is a really good one.
Really good question. So I think there's a tension here as we've talked to our customers. On the one side, we've heard sellers say, I really am not comfortable having non-approved buyers see products and see pricing. Because, for example, I may only have one territory, or I can't expose that wholesale price until I know it's an approved buyer. On the other hand, any barrier that you present to the buyer, including a login, has the potential to reduce sales. So our current solve to that is we allow teaser items. And so we allow a seller, supplier, or sales agency to expose their products to a buyer that is not yet logged in, but to see pricing, they do need to log in. So that's our middle ground for now, and we are trying to make that registration process for a new buyer as seamless as possible. The way it works now is the buyer enters a few pieces of data that immediately sends an email to the admin at the sales agency or whoever's running the B2B site. As soon as that sales agency approves the buyer, then they're free to shop. So that's our middle ground right now, but it's definitely something we're thinking about because, again, we want to cut down friction, but at the same time, we want to make sure that we don't overexpose things that would leave our suppliers feeling uncomfortable.
All right, and for part 2, will we be able to merge existing wholesale customers and B2B accounts so that their account history and data are syndicated?
So the answer is yes. That feature does exist currently. There is a merge function, and perhaps coming out of this meeting, we should probably summarize some of these questions, and we can share responses. But to the specific person that is asking that question, please reach out to support@markettime.com if you have time, and the team would be happy to guide you through that process. I believe we're trying to continue to make enhancements. There is some complexity on confirming that it is exactly the same customer, and if they, for example, the customer through the B2B may have entered a different ship to or a bill to versus what you have in your system, and we never want to be in the place where we are deleting information you want. So there is some nuance here that we've been working through, so we always welcome feedback on that, but I can confirm that there is a merge feature, which I think many customers are using to pretty good success. But we'll come back with notes on that, and please shoot a note to support@markettime.com, and they can walk you through the exact functionality that exists today.
All right, and for our last question today, will we be able to send a link from an email blast introducing a product line to a pre-populated basket on our MarketTime B2B to make ordering that product from an email blast seamless?
Done, available now, right? So again, it's probably best to email your email support@markettime.com, or we build out what I'm really quite proud of what the team's done with help.markettime.com, where there's videos on how to do that. And if you search in the kind of chat window, it'll direct you right to that place. But again, we can send notes out from this where we can send specific links to where that help.
Yeah, that's the showcase feature. We could find more information about it at help.markettime.com. I will say we didn't do a great job explaining it. So we will also be sharing out more notes on that, but it does exactly what was described, where you as the seller select a single customer or group of customers you want to send the email to. You write up the email, you choose the products that you want to include, and it automatically sends the email out. The buyer receives that email with a link and your customized message. Buyer clicks on that link, they're brought into a experience online that feels a lot like the B2B site, but it's only those products. So with one click, they can add a product to their cart, checkout.
And yeah, and actually talk about that, removing friction, that's instantly shoppable, right?
Instantly shoppable, no login needed in that case because the seller has invited that buyer in already. So you can only send that showcase to buyers that you've already approved.
Right.
So that in that case, there is absolutely no login needed.
All right, and we actually have time for one more question. So, how many of MarketTime's clients are currently on board? And are any clients willing to be a reference for MarketTime?
On board, perhaps that's the B2B. Maybe that's how I read that as using a B2B site. We just ran these numbers, and I don't want to get them wrong, but I believe what we saw was there are about 60 customers, most of whom are sales agencies, but some brands with B2B sites. And there are, hundreds more sales agencies and thousands more brands that are not using them. And so, yes, do we know who asked that question? Great. We'll follow up directly with you, and yes, we'd be happy to share references. The customers that have been most successful using B2B sites, as Chris mentioned, are actually generating, I think, almost 30% of their annual sales. Pretty stunning. Are now coming through the B2B site after only a year of having it launched. Now, that won't be the case for every industry and every agency, but I think it points us to say that when marketed and positioned correctly, and the time is invested in partnership with MarketTime to have great images, you can have a lot of success with that platform. So yeah, we'd love to provide references, and we're even happy to actually build your B2B site for you. We'll show it to you on a demo. You can see what it looks like. We'll then let you trial it. And if you have success, then we'll go from there. So we'd be happy to do that.
All right, as we come to a close, do you guys have any final remarks you want to leave with us?
Jacob said it. We view our role as to be the engine. It's about the industry. It's about you, our customers, and we are grateful to be able to be the engine, the technical components behind it. And that's really what we view our role as, to be part of the ecosystem that way, not be the face of it. We're the engine that helps others be successful.
We're excited. We hope we live up to your expectations, and we welcome the feedback when we do not, and we're going to try to get better every day. We just had a call with our entire team. We're now at 80 individuals, all focused on delivering for our customers. So we're going to keep trying to deliver, and we know you will hold us accountable when we fall short, and we look forward to growing with you and helping power your businesses.
Thanks, Jasmine, for hosting.
Yeah, thanks.
Look forward to the next one.
Thank you. And thank all of you for joining us. Once again, this is our CEO, Chris Happ, and this is our COO, Jacob Teplin. I'm Jasmine Harris, and we are MarketTime. Thank you for joining our webinar today.